Well, I noticed a lot of new faces this evening, and I'm so glad you all came. And I want you to know that this is a safe place to share. So if you want to tell us your story, there'll be no judgment.
Hi, my name is Charlie, and as you might remember, I have a problem. I'm addicted to cars. So if you've paid attention to any sci-fi or horror movie of the last, several decades, you're well aware that AI is going to be the end of all humanity and the fall of civilization. But I can't help but notice that other people are enjoying AI in the meantime, and I wanted to see if there was something that I could find. Hey, I want to be included. Let me see if there's something I can do with AI that makes it fun. So recently I was watching one of the YouTubers that I watch, which is Professor of Rock, and he did a whole video on asking AI what would have happened hypothetically in a world where John Bonham did not pass away tragically and Led Zeppelin never broke up. And AI proceeded to give him this really cool breakdown of what Led Zeppelin would have done in the 80s all the way up into the 90s. It gave album titles and song titles and how many albums they sold and what went gold, what went platinum. It was really cool. It was all hypothetical and BS, but it was really enjoyable. So I got to thinking, what if I were able to have AI show me and tell me what some of my favorite classic cars would look like if they came out today. Now, a few things to note here. Obviously, say a Mustang. There's never not been a Mustang. So it doesn't do me good. As much as I love Mustangs, it doesn't do me any good to do that, right? Also, in some cases, I picked a vehicle that continued on past the point to where I was interested. Say, for example, the first one on my list, which is going to be my Buick Skylark. The Skylark continued on well after the generation that I have, but that's my favorite generation, and that's what I would be interested in seeing a 2025 adaptation of. So it doesn't necessarily mean we're picking up right where a car left off. So number one on this list of AI resurrections is going to be the 1967 Buick Skylark. I didn't do the 4-door, I did the 2-door because it's the most traditional, but I'm sure hypothetically they could have a 4-door as well. This thing turned out super cool, as you can see here. In all seriousness, it's probably a bit dated, being as how the real retro phase happened about 20 years ago. So this is sort of reminiscent of like the Challengers when they came out in the 2010s or late 2000s. Obviously Mustang and Camaros did the same thing. So this is definitely a more retro throwback, but I still think it's super cool. Obviously I want it to be true to the actual Skylark design that I have. So I went ahead and went with the more retro rendition, and I really like it. So basically with each of these cars, I asked AI to give me the features and specs, kind of like the way I picture it as being like a write-up in Motor Trend or something. So exterior design highlights for the 2026 Buick Skylark. Body style is a fastback coupe with a flush mounted door handles. Paint, this particular one is Arctic Pearl White with ceramic gloss finish. Lighting would be quad LED halo headlights, full width LED taillight bar. The grille's vertical chrome slats with Buick Tri-Shield emblem, exhaust, dual chrome tips with active sound modulation, aerodynamics, integrated rear lip spoiler, and functional front splitter. Powertrain and performance. This model will come with a 6.2 liter supercharged V8 with 650 horsepower at 6,400 RPMs, 600 foot-pounds of torque. Transmission would be an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters. Drivetrain, it's a rear-wheel drive, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Top speed 198 miles per hour. Suspension would be adaptive magnetic ride control, Brembo performance brakes with red calipers, 20-inch forged alloy wheels, black multi-spoke. Tires were Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, low profile, high performance, variable ratio electric power steering. As far as tech on the interior, has an infotainment 12-inch OLED touchscreen with Buick IntelliLink. Audio, 14-speaker Harman Kardon surround system, so top of the line. Connectivity, wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, 5G hotspot, obviously. Driver assist, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, brushed aluminum accents on the interior, perforated leather seats with contrast stitching, and customizable RGB lighting zones. So once again, this is the 2026 Buick Skylark. I even asked if they could come out with the GSX packaging, which they did here. Pretty subtle, but cool. So that was the first one on my list. What did you guys think? Make sure, as we're going along here, put your thoughts, what you like, what you don't like, what you think AI got wrong, what you'd like to see on these hypothetical models. Make sure and put them all down in the comments. Overall, I really did dig this Skylark. Again, I do think it's a little bit dated for actually being a 2026, but this is all imaginary anyway, so who are we kidding? I'm not picking any bones here. I do like this one. I wouldn't want it to look too modern and lose the flavor of what this generation of Skylark actually was. So next up, I did another Buick. This one much different, but I thought the results were very cool. I guess on something like this, I had less expectations, so I was just curious as to where AI would go with it. But I did the 2026 Buick Reatta, and this is what it came up with. Very cool styling. I mean, honestly, it's probably pulling from some other Buicks as far as the styling cues, but with the convertible and the way everything looks and the sweeping curves and stuff, I could totally see a Buick Reatta going this direction in 2025, 2026. Sort of like a modern Miata, I guess. So that's pretty much where a Buick, I could see a Buick going. AI said that the 2026 Buick Reatta is imagined as a sleek, futuristic revival of the classic two-seater coupe, blending retro charm with modern EV innovation. So this is absolutely an EV. While Buick hasn't officially announced the production model, several concept designs and fan renderings suggest a bold new direction. Now, that's something to note here. When I did this Buick Reatta, there was a lot of stuff already made for it, like somebody else had already done this, or there was rumors and concepts out there already. So I don't know if that's something that could actually be in the works or that has been discussed, but there was definitely more information already available about a new Buick Reatta. Design highlights. Exterior styling would be streamlined body with sculpted curves, low slung stance, and a wide front grille, reminiscent of the original Reatta but modernized with LED accents. Convertible option. Some concepts showcase a soft top convertible variant, echoing the Reatta's 1990s charm with a futuristic twist. Rumored to be based on the MG Cyberster platform, suggesting a fully electric drivetrain with sporty performance and agile handling. Jeez. Thin wraparound LED headlights and taillights give it a high-tech, minimalist look. Tech on the interior, panoramic touchscreen dashboard with AI-assisted driving features. Obviously, AI is going to want to take the wheel from you. Vegan leather, ambient lighting, and customizable interior themes. Thank goodness the seat material is vegan. Full integration with Buick's latest infotainment system, voice control, and over-the-air updates. AI notes, if Buick does bring the Reatta back, it could be a stylish EV coupe that pays homage to its heritage while embracing the future. So, there you go. There was a lot of stuff. If you look up a new Buick Reatta on YouTube. You will find videos and renderings there. There's a lot there for Buick Reatta, which makes me wonder if I'm not the only one thinking about a new Reatta. The next one I did was pretty interesting. This is a car I don't know very much about, but I do really like. Some of you might have seen a couple years ago, I did a video with a gentleman, Jim, in our car club that was a Studebaker enthusiast expert. Really, really nice guy. Unfortunately, he passed away in recent years, but he had this whole collection of Studebakers, and my favorite one was the Avanti. And I don't know that much about it. To be honest, it's hard for me to tie the styling of this modern one into the old one because I don't know the old one well enough. But based on some of these pictures that I find, it's definitely an interesting concept. I will say, I've always wondered what would happen, and maybe I would explore this further with AI and just do a deep dive on Studebaker just as a whole, because I thought Studebakers were beautiful. Like their whole focus on building cars seemed to be so much different, and maybe it was just the time, but it was like they were making artwork, functional artwork, more so than, certainly more so than where the car industry has come. I guess back in the 50s and 60s, they were all kind of making beautiful artwork out of their vehicles, and that kind of went to the wayside. But I wonder if some of these companies like, Packard and Studebaker and Hudson that were making beautiful cars, if they wouldn't have lost out and stuck around, maybe the industry would look a little bit different. So anyway, I went ahead and did 2026 Studebaker Avanti, and you can take a look at it here. Really, really cool looking car. Sort of reminds me of an Aston Martin or Jaguar, maybe. Sort of a concept. Definitely looks kind of like Euro styling to me. Studebaker, the design philosophy, a bold reinterpretation of the 1962 icon. The 2026 Avanti fuses jet-aged optimism and contemporary muscle. Sculpted in aerospace-grade aluminum and carbon fiber, its silhouette honors the original's Coke bottle curves while embracing a low-slung, wide-track stance for modern aggression. Exterior highlights: signature circular LED headlamps with halos, flush-mounted door handles and frameless glass, fully integrated LED taillight bar with integrated sequential turn signals, which is cool, carbon fiber front splitter and rear diffuser, Avanti script badge in brushed chrome. Color options, it's cool that they did the color options. Color options for the 2026 would be lunar silver, which is shown here, atomic copper, jet black pearl, and glacier blue metallic. Powertrain and performance is a twin turbocharged 4-liter V8, 560 horsepower at 6,800 RPMs, 590 foot-pounds of torque, 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, rear-wheel drive with an all-wheel drive option, 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, top speed of 198 miles per hour. Exhaust is an active valve titanium system. There's an EV variant, which is a dual motor all-wheel drive, 700 horsepower equivalent with 350 mile range. So this hypothetically would have a EV option. Cockpit design, jet-inspired dashboard with digital wraparound display, holographic HUD with customizable themes, ambient lighting with afterburner mode, Recaro style sport seats in Alcantara and leather. 15-inch OLED touchscreen with Avanti OS, wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, again AI assisted driving, coach and telemetry recorder, 12-speaker Harman Quantum surround system. It has adaptive cruise with lane centering, 360-degree camera with augmented reality overlays, collision prediction with evasive maneuver assist. Another note, the Avanti is positioned as a boutique performance coupe, a halo car for a revived Studebaker brand, targeted as design-forward enthusiasts who crave heritage with a twist of futurism. Think the elegance of Aston, the punch of a Hellcat, and the soul of a time traveler. So very cool. That's a cool little note. But it does seem to capture kind of the vibe of what Studebaker was doing back then. And I do like whether it's reminiscent enough of the Avanti. It might be. Some of you out there are probably more familiar and more used to seeing the Avanti design, so maybe you can see it in this car better than I can. But regardless, it's still a beautiful car, and I would absolutely drive that thing. And I would love to have seen Studebaker stick around. So leave a comment if you'd like to see more a more deep dive just on Studebaker alone. I think that's an interesting idea. So the next car that I did is something I definitely know more about, and you've seen on this channel. It's actually one of the more popular cars, viewer-wise, that I've done on this channel, and that would be my beloved 300 CE C124 Coupe from Mercedes-Benz. I love that car. That's the one. If you didn't see the video, go back and check it out. I love that car, and it got T-boned and totaled before I could really get to enjoy it, to be honest. But I really like the way this thing turned out. I 100% acknowledge that this is not what a modern Mercedes would look like, even though this one's much more, the curves are softer and the angles are softer than on the original, which is more modern. But it would definitely not be this notchy. But I do love this shape, and it was a faithful rendition to the C124, so I really liked it. I also put an AMG package on this, and I used the colors. I got better as I went along with this AI thing, and I used the colors from my original car. So I really like this one. I think you guys might like it too. This is the 2026 Mercedes-Benz 300 CE AMG Heritage Edition. Modern tribute to the iconic C124 Coupe. Engine is a 3-liter inline 6 turbocharged with mild hybrid assist. Super cool. Horsepower 385 horsepower at 6,500 RPMs, 420 foot-pounds of torque, 9-speed AMG speed shift automatic transmission, rear-wheel drive with an optional 4MATIC all-wheel drive. 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. Top speed electronically limited at 155 miles per hour. Boo. Exhaust dual AMG tuned stainless steel exhaust with active valves. Technology infotainment was a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster with 13-inch central touchscreen. MBUX with voice control, gesture recognition, and haptic feedback. Wireless Apple CarPlay, blah, blah, blah. Audio, Burmester 3D sound. Oh, Burmester 3D surround sound system, 16 speakers, 760 watts. Well, that sounds intense. Augmented reality turn-by-turn with live traffic overlay for navigation. It does have some driver safety and driver assist. ADAS suite, which would be adaptive cruise control with lane centering, blind spot assist, exit warning, 360 camera with auto park and curb detection, collision avoidance with pedestrian detection, full LED matrix headlights with auto, high beam, and cornering function, AMG high performance composite brakes with ventilated discs, 2-door coupe with pillarless side window. Yes, baby, it has to be pillarless. 2-tone burgundy metallic with graphite gray at the bottom, chrome accents with AMG aero kit, front splitter, side skirts, rear diffuser, 19-inch classic silver AMG 5-spoke alloys, retro-inspired AMG and Mercedes-Benz emblem with brushed aluminum finish. Seats are Napa leather, sport seats with memory, heating, cooling, and massage. Oh yeah, baby, a massage. Open pore walnut wood with brushed aluminum inlays, ambient lighting, 64 color customizable LED system. That sounds cool. Dual zone automatic climate control with air purification. Panoramic glass roof with electrochromatic tinting. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it gives the width, I hate the wheelbase and all that stuff for these. Not that important, but I did really like this car. See what you guys think. I think it's faithful to the original while being, I don't know, futuristic for sure. I don't want to say modern, because modern Mercedes look very different than this, but they all sort of look the same. I do love this car. I mean, I'd buy one. Well, what do you guys think? Would you guys buy one? So moving on to the next car on the list. This is not a car that I've had. We had the 4-door version Cadillac STS, but a car that I've wanted is an Eldorado from the last generation of Eldorados. It went up to, I think, 2002 when they stopped making the Eldorado. And that's right where I picked it up from. Now, the modern version of this is awesome. I think it turned out great. I will say it's probably just a version of the CT5, which I'm not as familiar with. So as awesome as this looks to me, some of you may be going, yeah, that's not that different from what the new CT5 Cadillac is. And if that's the case, sorry, I'm just not that versed on modern Cadillacs, but this thing looked bad to the bone, so I wanted to share it with you guys. This is the 2026 Cadillac Eldorado ETC concept, a bold reinterpretation of Cadillac's iconic touring coupe, where heritage meets high-tech muscle. So powertrain and performance, engines, a 4.2 twin turbocharged V8 with 540 horsepower at 6,200 RPMs, 590 foot-pounds of torque, 10-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters, rear-wheel drive. There is an all-wheel drive option. 3.9 seconds is 0 to 60. Top speed's 190. Suspension is a magnetic ride control 4.0 with adaptive dampers. The brakes are a Brembo 6-piston front and 4-piston rear with ventilated rotors. Inside would be a curved 14.2-inch OLED instrument cluster, infotainment, 12.6-inch touchscreen with Cadillac UX 2.0, wireless and CarPlay, Android connectivity, AKG studio reference 20 speaker surround system, driver assist, Super Cruise 2.0 with lane change assist, HUD augmented reality heads-up display, adaptive cruise control with stop and go, automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, 360 camera with AI guided parking assist, night vision with thermal imaging overlay. That's different, that's cool. Blind zone steering assist. Seating, hand stitched aniline leather sport seats with cooling, heating, and massage. Brushed aluminum and carbon fiber trim with piano black accents. Ambient LED lighting with customizable color zones, electrochromatic panoramic glass roof with opacity control. I wish more cars would do stuff like that. That's cool. Hidden compartments and fold flat rear seats. It's a 2-door luxury performance coupe, 21-inch forged alloy wheels with staggered setup, vertical blade LED headlights and taillights, black mesh with illuminated Cadillac crest on the grille, active front splitter and rear diffuser. Paint options for the 2026 would be obsidian black, crimson pulse, I don't know what that would be, Arctic silver, and solar flare pearl. Those sound pretty awesome. This Eldorado ETC isn't just a nod to Cadillac's past, it's a declaration of its future. Very cool. So that is the Cadillac Eldorado ETC for 2026. What do you guys think? Does it look as awesome as I think it does, or does it look just like another modern Cadillac? You let me know in the comments. So I've got 2 more on the list. I'm saving the best for last, but the next one that I wanted to do, something completely just random and kind of so unique that I know that it would never get done in a million years. And I thought, what's one of the most random, unique cars I could think of? And actually, my brother, when I was a kid, had a Ford Pinto cruising wagon, which was this, I mean, pretty awful, but just amazingly awful orange Pinto wagon with a porthole window, shag carpeting inside. Thing was just obnoxiously bright orange with yellow and red, and it was just awesome. As a kid, it was one of my favorite cars ever of my life, being in and seeing. And I thought, what would a new 2026 Ford Pinto cruising wagon look like? So let's check this one out. This is inspired by the 1978 cruising wagon, reimagined for the modern era. This is a 2.3 EcoBoost turbocharged inline 4 with 310 horsepower, 350 foot-pounds of torque, 8-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters, rear-wheel drive with an all-wheel drive option, 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds, top speed 140 miles an hour, adaptive sport tune suspension with retro rake stance. That's super cool. Brembo 4-piston caliper brakes with ventilated discs, 19-inch multi-spoke alloy wheels with low-profile performance tires. The exterior features: the color of this is sunburst orange with retro yellow and red diagonal stripes. Signature detail is the chrome-rimmed porthole window on rear quarter panels. Slim LED headlights with C-shaped DRLs, wraparound LED taillights with sequential turn signals, black honeycomb grille with floating Ford emblem, roofline sloped fastback with integrated rear spoiler, exhaust single rectangular tip with black chrome finish, gloss black mirrors, door handles, and lower valance. Interior features, and this is where it kind of be what will be super interesting about this car, be the interior. So this is one of the only ones I had it generate the interior. Black leather sport seats with orange contrast stitching, ribbed inserts and contoured bolsters. Infotainment will be 12-inch vertical touchscreen with Sync 5 interface, obviously Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Bang & Olufsen 10-speaker premium sound system. Let's face it, if you buy this car, you're going to be putting in your own sound system. 10.5-inch digital cluster with retro-inspired gauges, climate control dual zone automatic with rear vents, customizable LED strips with cruising glow mode. Don't know what that is. That sounds cool. Fold flat rear seats with hidden cargo compartments. You'd think something like this, to be functional, would have a ton of cargo space. Adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring. Blind spot monitoring would probably be great in a car like this. Rear cross traffic alert, 360 camera with rear porthole view integration, and smart key with push button start. It was interesting, they gave me some optional packaging for this car, and one was a retro revival pack with wood grain dash inserts. There's the cruising club pack with a roof rack with surfboard holders, and Performance Plus, which just upgraded the exhaust to a sport exhaust and launch control. This concept blends nostalgia with innovation, perfect for weekend getaways, car shows, or just turning heads on your morning commute. And this would turn some heads, my friends. So that brings us to the last car on the list. I saved this one for last because this one came out amazing. Seriously, if Ford is watching this, and I'm sure they are, why wouldn't they be? You gotta make this car. I'm telling you, this would be a booming seller. It have to be. This thing is awesome. So the first go round, it wasn't as unique, I guess. It looked too much like the original car I was asking for. So I kind of worked with it a little bit more. I said, let's get a little more aggressive. Let's make it more performance based. So this is definitely a performance focused model. But what I asked for was a 2026 Ford Thunderbird Super Coupe. And we're not using the Thunderbirds that came in the 2000s, those retro ones, which were really cool. But we're talking about the Super Coupes that stopped in the late 90s, I guess, that came from pretty much the span of the 90s. Were really cool. T-Birds, I love those. My family members had those, and I would drive in those, and it had sort of the same motor as my 5-liter, but it was such a refined ride. It was like very luxurious compared to my Mustang. And I love those cars, and someday I will have another one. I've looked at several, just not been able to find one worth pulling the trigger on at this point. But let's look at what it would look like for 2026. Powertrain and performance. 5.2 liter twin turbocharged V8, horsepower 625 horsepower at 6,800 RPMs, 590 foot-pounds of torque, 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission with paddle shifters, rear wheel drive, optional all-wheel drive variant. 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, top speed 198 miles per hour. Dual rectangular chrome exhaust tips with active valve control. Chassis and suspension. The platform will be a lightweight aluminum space frame with carbon fiber reinforcement. Adaptive magnetic ride control with sport, comfort, and track modes. Brembo 6-piston front and 4-piston rear calipers with ventilated rotors. 20-inch forged alloy wheels, black multi-spoke with red accent stripe. Mwah, beautiful. Michelin Pilot Sport 4S 275 30 ZR20 front and 305 in the back. Technology and features: 12.3 inch floating touchscreen with Sync Ultra, Apple CarPlay, Android, Bang & Olufsen 14 speaker surround system with subwoofers, 10.5 inch display cluster with retro inspired gauges and customizable themes, 5G LTE wireless charging, over the air updates, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring via a 360 camera, Recaro Sport bucket seats with Alcantara and leather trim, brushed aluminum, carbon fiber, and retro red stitching accents in the interior, ambient LED lighting with customizable color zones, flat-bottomed leather wrapped with Thunderbird emblem and drive mode selector on the steering wheel. Storage 2+2 layout with foldable rear seats and hidden trunk compartment. This is a wide body coupe with fastback roofline. Full LED matrix headlights and taillight bar with the sequential turn signals. To me, this car looks good from every angle, but the rear looks so awesome. It's so much T-Bird, these classic T-Birds in that rear section. It really captures that vibe and it looks so good, my goodness. Integrated lip spoiler, adjustable aero wing optional. Color, this is a crimson velocity red with gloss black accents. Stylized Thunderbird emblems front and rear, subtle SC script on the fenders. Special features for this Super Coupe would be launch control and line lock for drag strip fun. Thunderbird Heritage Mode, retro gauge cluster, exhaust tone and modulation, ambient lighting, a track telemetry suite, lap timer, G-force meter, and performance data logging. Customizable drive modes, there's Eco, Comfort, Sport, Track, and Super Coupe mode. I mean, if Track is below Super Coupe mode, imagine what Super Coupe mode would be. So yeah, I love this thing. I think it looks amazing. I would buy one in a heartbeat. I think Ford would sell the crap out of these. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? What was your favorite? Do you like the T-Bird? Are you more of an Eldorado guy or gal? Or you like the Pinto wagons? Tell me what was your favorite. Also, was there cars that you wish you could see? Maybe you'll want to go do this yourself, or maybe I'll make more of these videos. Who knows? But I thought it was a fun little exercise. I was really happy with the way, especially a few of these turned out, I thought were pretty awesome. And it's fun. I don't know, it's fun to imagine. We love these cars. So many of them have been gone for decades and decades and decades, and it's nice to see them refreshed and brought back to life and put on the road, hypothetically, what they would look like again. So I enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. don't worry, we'll be back with more regular car content. I got lots of things coming up and that I want to share with you guys. And hopefully you guys will like, subscribe, click the bell, whatever you got to do to be involved. I appreciate your support. And hey, I'll see you on the next one.